Hey guys, it's Hector here with my friend Amanda, and it's Halloween, and so we thought we'd dress up specifically as some students participating in Battle Royale. And because we're big fans of Battle Royale, me specifically with the movie, but she has gone even further into the history with the manga, and apparently there's a book I didn't know about. And well, the costume's super simple, and it's kind of like a closet cosplay.
I would call it a closet cosplay. I really would.
But we also purchased these little necklaces, or whatever, which I'll talk about in a second. So, for those that don't know, Battle Royale is a Japanese story, I guess you can say. It takes place in a kind of futuristic, dystopian universe. And so, crime's getting all crazy. Population's getting crazy, so you got to do some population control. And
what better way?
And unemployment's also down super bad. So the government decided to implement this law called the Battle Royale law, where once a year they choose a random class, and all the classmates have to fight to the death. And each classmate has this, and this collar is it's kind of part of the game because it's not just a tournament to the death, it's also a game. If you break any of the rules, and if there's more than one person surviving after the time limit, this little thing will blow up.
Everybody dies. And then, I mean, it's no difference to them, then it's just one more person dead. It's not like Hunger Games where they're just like, no, we need them alive. No, that's it. You just fucking die.
Yeah, and speaking of the Hunger Games, let's just quickly talk about that. So, talking about the plot, a lot of people will say, well, that's kind of like the Hunger Games.
Mm-hmm.
And when
You're sure right.
when the Hunger Games came out, we were like,
Nanny, the fuck?
that sounds kind of familiar because this has been out for many, many years. I'm not exactly sure.
And the year on here is just going to be the movie.
2012, just for the Blu-ray, and it might have even came out before that because it says 2000 Battle Royale Production Committee. The Blu-ray came out in 2012, and I'll leave a link in the description in case you want to buy the Blu-ray. It's an awesome movie. Use my link in the description, and I'll get a small cut of it, but it won't cost you guys anything extra. It'll just help keep my YouTube channels and website running.
The book came out April 1st, 1999. Page count 666.
And then later on, the movie came out. And then the Hunger Games came out. I believe the author was actually accused, by a lot of fans of Battle Royale, saying, hey, did you copy this from Battle Royale? And they said, nah, we never even heard of it. It's just our own thing.
Okay.
And, I can kind of see a little something from another movie, if I may say so, which came out earlier, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, called The Running Man.
I haven't seen it.
It's slightly different. So the plot of The Running Man is they take convicts because, the future's gotten so bad and stuff, but they just take convicts and then make them fight these people who are specifically killers, and they have their own theme about them. There's this guy's the hockey player, and he'll kill you on ice with a hockey stick or whatever the fuck.
That's kind of cool.
And they televise it, and so everybody gets to see it. And that's the main theme of The Running Man, but there's some other story in there with Arnold Schwarzenegger and some other people.
It's very possible because the author of the book is he's huge into American horror and into American movies and culture in general, so that's very much a possibility that he got some ideas from that.
And I ran into it because I'm a huge Quentin Tarantino fan. You probably, all the Quentin Tarantino movies are way down here. You wouldn't be able to see it. I've seen almost every single Quentin Tarantino movie he's directed, and then when I started, reading some more stuff about it, he was like, this is one of the greatest movies ever made.
Really?
Yeah.
Aww. And
so it's I have to see it. And it even says in the front, 42 students, only one way to survive. And so, there's 42 students. It's only 122 minutes long. There is a lot of stuff packed into there. And so, of course, as the saying goes, the book is better. So you want to go on about that?
Sure. First of all, I'd like to say I still think it's an amazing movie, and I still think it's completely worth watching. I don't think it's overwhelming with how much stuff. It's just they just put more importance on certain characters, and then may have made what was a semi-main character in the manga like less important. Still totally a good watch. But in the manga, then we are able to have a lot more time and a lot more room to fit stuff in. So almost every single character, every single student has like a little backstory, and some more than others depending on their importance, obviously. But there are some characters where even if they're going to die in that book and were introduced in that book, they'll show them having dialogue with other characters about what their time was like in Japan and in school, or what kind of kid they were. They have a lot of inner dialogue, and that's really important, I think, in situations like these, because they have these teenagers that are put in these like survival situations that they have not been prepped for ever.
Yeah, that's also pretty important to know, because they are teenagers, and well, in the movie there is quite a bit of romance thrown into there. Like, you'll see some people die and then they're like, oh, by the way, I like you or something.
Yeah.
And I did feel that it was really rushed in there. I was like,
it is, yes.
And then so that has made me really want to jump more into the manga, but it's just another thing to add to my list. So I know,
and
but
the manga's
anyways.
really long. It's like 20 volumes, I think, maybe more. But it's worth it, and it's very graphic. It's gory. There's a lot of nudity. There's a lot of like kind of hardcore sex stuff, not just kind of typical hentai or porn. Like, it's especially this character Mitsuko. She was kind of in school known as like the school slut, and she was kind of she was the Regina George of plastics, but they did drugs and shit. But anyway, so she's kind of one of the main contenders when she actually gets to the island, because you have someone who's already cold-blooded like that, in school, and then she gets to the island and she's just like, oh, I got this. But she does use that to her advantage, and so, there's a lot of sexcapades in there when it comes to her. The book I actually haven't read. I own it, and it's really long. And
how thick is it?
It's like this thick. There's 600.
Show it to the camera.
Oh, sorry. It's so sick.
It's like a Bible.
Yeah, no, it really is. Like I read before, it was 666 pages. So I imagine the book and the manga are pretty similar. I really like the art style. I looked back recently, and I have noticed that it does not really hold up as well. Like, a lot of the anatomy's kind of silly, like how 80s X-Men was, sort of like that. Like, it doesn't really take away from everything, but there's some ridiculous stuff sometimes.
This wasn't released in the US, or it says in North America, for a while, because
I bought a bootleg
because it said it was banned or whatever.
I almost forgot to mention that there's a theatrical cut and a director's cut, and the plain Blu-ray version that I have right here is the director's cut, but you can get a collector's pack or whatever on Amazon that has the theatrical version and the director's cut and Battle Royale 2, although Battle Royale 2 isn't very good. But the main difference between the theatrical version and the director's cut is that the director's cut includes some CGI blood here and there, which I really didn't like. And there's also this backstory with all the kids at a basketball game, so it cuts back and forth between the present day at the Battle Royale tournament and then in the past with all of them at school at a basketball game.
Also, another thing that I forgot to mention during the whole Battle Royale rules is everybody gets one bag with one random weapon. It can be anything. And so there are some people who got like a knife or a gun or a pot or a pan. So for some pictures, I got my little sword that I bought at one of my conventions. This is a bleach sword, specifically Ichigo's sword, so I just used it here and there.
And I got these knives, and my stepmom used to always dress up like Elvira. When I was a kid, I didn't realize how, like, sexy that was, I guess, at the time. But, she kept it on her thigh, and I thought that was, like, the coolest shit as a kid. And so the first thing I thought was, I want to get one of these retractable knives, and Walmart totally came through. They're really cool. And I did not finish like weathering them and like making them look more real, because I could do that, than I wanted to. But it doesn't matter because it's Halloween today. But when I decide to cosplay it, I will. But they're really, really, really cool. And it would be really cool to make like a little music video with them.
And we thought about getting guns, but then, we don't want to get shot. It's America.
Yeah.
So in addition to the weapons, we also have these, the exploding neck collars, featured in the movie and the story and stuff. We got them off, or you specifically found them on eBay, but there was 2 versions, you said?
Yes, there's 2 versions, and they're both made exactly the same, but the more expensive version does have the flashing LED, because what happens is you get a warning before your collar actually goes off. You have about 30 seconds to a minute to rectify whatever's going to make it go off. And so the other one does blink and does turn on. This one does not. And, it's just, it was kind of last minute, so we just bought these ones. It is made very well. It's very simple, too, actually. So it's comfortable against your neck, or as he was kind of saying earlier with his Adam's apple, it rubbed against him. And I don't have one, and it does kind of rub.
I had to kind of, like, bend it to give me a little extra room.
And then I have a tiny neck, so I added some more Velcro. But either way, that does not take away from the fact that these are... they're very well made. The craftsmanship is really good, and we will add a link to the seller. But she's in Canada, and she's been making these since the series came out. This same woman has been on eBay for probably the last 20 years. I'm not going to do that math, but close enough. And she's very reputable. She's been making them forever, so they're very decent. I suggest it. I would like to add that, at least when I'm reading the manga, it is like, how it says on the back, it's emotionally charged and everything. They're not talking about like, I mean, of course you do get attached to the characters, especially the manga, because there's so much more time to, get close to them and everything. But it is it's a very stressful story. It's very, the teenagers are very relatable. So then when they're suddenly in these unrelatable situations, you really feel for them. And yeah, it's really good. I highly suggest it.
So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to specifically make a video about the Battle Royale costumes and encouraging everybody to either check out the movie, read the manga, read the book, whatever. Again, I'll leave a link in the description to the Blu-ray. If I can find the manga, I'll leave a link in the description of that. Also leave a link in the description to the eBay seller for the neck collar or whatever. And like this video if you liked it or appreciated us doing it. And subscribe to my channel for more otaku related things. Sometimes we talk about costumes, cosplay, talk about figures, whatever. And as always, don't be afraid to be an otaku.